This volume of Index was a very different kind of volume than what I was expecting. I was thinking it would be similar to Volume 3, but I was wrong, horribly wrong, but for the right reasons. I came in expecting a volume similar to Volume 3, but the volume came out far more unique and reassuring for the future of the series. The first chapter felt very odd in a lot of ways, from different characters acting very different from how they were before, like Ewan, Dosomon, and Thomas Luck, being very good. This was odd until we got baited by the new character Alice. Her powers are insane with how they worked, and it made a lot of good happen, but Toma ended up denying because it wasn't him. He didn't get it through hard work. It felt like a convenient answer that everything was made very, well, easy for him. But he wants it his way through hard work and perseverance, and I love that. And I like how he figures it out with his luck being very unlucky, or lucky in this case. I like that he figures it out with his luck, since his luck in the earlier chapters was very good and everything went his way. I like that this was both a big clue and something that I overlooked, just because of how the story was going. Accelerator finally gets his trial ended, and he's guilty, and I like that he doesn't really try to run away from his crimes, but really owns up to them. And we see him put into a cell that's very hard to get to, but from the beginning, it feels more like a 5-star hotel than a cell. He does appear in the volume later on, which I like and not forgotten. The volume did an awesome job using Shirai and Arc. That reminded me a lot of Volume 3, and we see her change from that volume. That she's willing to treat the villains of Handcuff, or let's just call it the Dark Side members, as people, not just villains. And I like this is from Rakufu, her partner. This volume also paired Shirai and Toma, and I really like their duo. For the majority of the volume we saw them interact, and their partnership was a lot more enjoyable and entertaining than I expected. I found it a lot more enjoyable than Misaka and Misaki, which I found it to be a bit surprising that we didn't get this kind of interaction from them before. Well, we did during Volume 4, but only in a minor way, and I like that they build up from that into a big partnership during this one, and I love it. The volume may have the least amount of character introductions in Genesis Testament, around 2, with Alice herself and Rakufu's sister. Another character does in fact return, and it's not from Index, but from Railgun. Another character in my opinion that really surprised me was Tetsuo, an original character from Railgun who had no interaction in the Index series or in the light novels before, with this volume being her first debut, and she was used so well, and she may be one of my favorite parts of the volume, with the negotiator plot point, and the final fight with her and Yomikawa being one that I'll remember for a while, being a really good moment in the arc. The final chapter with the greatest taboo, and the mystery around it and the climax, definitely felt like a cluster of ideas and characters, that it felt like a fever dream of a final chapter, with returning characters and plot points, with Accelerator making a return to help Toma, to even Shiage getting out of the ICU to fight, and the moment with Nukin and Kazakiri making a shocking return to the series in a big final moment, being really good. The final chapter was a cluster of a lot of things, but it may be my favorite part of the volume, with stuff from Volume 2 to Volume 4, with Melzabeth even returning, and helping the group with Ladybird. Another character returned to fight her master in the final fight. There's a lot in the final chapter, but one thing I can say is it's really, really good and kind of assuring. The epilogue leaves us a lot to look forward to, and some of the highlights for me has to be an earlier chapter, where Yomikawa visits Hamazura after the events of Volume 3 where he's shot. And the arc, handling Alice and her powers, was much better than the Magic Gods during their entire run, and making it really work for the story was really good. and I found it much more, like, polished compared to when the magic gods were introduced in the final arcs of, or during the final half of NT, and the final fight being one of my favorite fights of Genesis Testament, right beside the Saint Germain fight with Toma. Another big detail about this arc is that Misaka and Misaki have no appearance whatsoever. Like, we only get one mention of Misaka, and it's only Onesama by Shirai in the beginning, but nothing too big or no kind of big appearance in the end, just nothing, which surprised me. Like, even GT3, where they had no reason to show up, and they did, while here they had every kind of opportunity and yet they didn't make any appearances, makes me really surprised and makes me intrigued to what was the reason? Is there like a plot reason? Or are they going to be coming back for something pretty big for 6? Well, I really hope we get something big out of this, because this is something pretty unique, since they have made an appearance in every GT volume since the beginning as a duo. The volume as a whole has a lot to do, with a lot of plot points and stories working together from arcs like Volume 2 to Volume 4, and achieves it very well. It makes me pretty excited for the series' future and what it could bring. And this kind of volume made me reassured that previous aspects of volumes before won't just be forgotten and kind of passed away and be given a presence in an arc after. With a lot of highs and very few lows compared to previous volumes, this volume overall has to be one of my favorites of Genesis Testament. I don't have a definitive opinion on if this is better than 3 or equal, but what I can say is that the volume as a whole really does live up to that hype of being as good as Volume 3, and it makes me really excited for where the series could go next.